one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? I'm not. But, you know, Cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
So here's my response to Barack Obama chastising black men about not voting for Kamala Harris. Okay. She's a bad candidate. She's flat out a bad candidate. There's a reason she's tanking in the polls, and there's a reason you're out here trying to garner support for her. She's bad. There's a reason she got no votes in the primary in 2020 when she was running for president. She is not a good candidate. Her policies are bad. Her ideas are bad. She can't take adversarial interviews. Why do you think she hovers around only friendly people? She's disingenuous. She's scripted. She can't even take... When have we seen a live interview from Kamala Harris? We don't really see live interviews from Kamala Harris, right? And she's very, very... She's not... I don't know if genuine is the word. Kamala Harris is not authentic. She's very scripted. She's not real. She's fake, right? So don't come chastise black men about the fact that we see through what Kamala Harris is. Hey, y'all better get back online and get back on this Democratic plantation to be where you're supposed to be and vote for her, because Trump is evil, racist, and bad, and he hates you. Trump actually has policies that make sense, right? They're actually economically viable. It makes sense what he's saying, what he plans to do. You drill more. Cost of oil and natural gas virtually affects every industry in the United States. If you want to get prices down, that is a way to do it. The Biden-Harris administration has not shown competence. Right now, they're suing the police department. Their Justice Department is suing the police department in South Bend, Indiana, for having a test that is too hard. It discriminates against black people because it's too academically challenging, and it discriminates against women because it's too physically demanding. See, this current Democratic Party seems more obsessed, or I should say they care more about how things affect people rather than getting quality people. They care more about inclusion and diversity rather than quality of people. Because if you think about it, they're more concerned with the result of the people who are applying for the police department in South Bend, Indiana, than they are concerned about actually getting quality police officers in South Bend, Indiana. Again, this administration cares more about diversity, equity, and inclusion than they do meritocracy and finding quality people. It's not just about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris virtually seems like an empty suit, but the current Democratic Party is not what a lot of us want to be a part of. We don't. I mean, and it's funny that you don't see that and you feel the right just to come shame black men for not lining up or agreeing to line up and vote for Democrats. Like, you don't see a problem in that? There's definitely a problem with that. You don't own the black male vote. You are not owed the black male vote. Kamala Harris is not owed our vote either. Just because she's black doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. Doesn't mean anything. And a lot of us are not dumb enough, and yes, I said dumb enough, to vote for someone simply based off the color of their skin because we fell into this idealistic propaganda about the Republicans are racist and they're going to take away your rights and do all these horrible things to you. I live in one of the reddest states in the country, and I've had virtually zero problems with racism here. The Republican Party is not racist. Trump is not taking away my rights. He's not shown disregard. When Trump was in office, black people had more money in their pockets. Here's another thing that y'all don't think about. A lot of Democratic policies do not help black people. We know black people have the least amount of assets in the United States of all the major races. Okay. Now, when inflation hits, it hurts people with that have the least amount of assets. It hurts them the most because, generally speaking, during Biden's administration, inflation has been outpacing wages. As inflation has been outpacing wages, it harms people who live off wages and don't have assets because their assets can't go up in value with inflation. Again, black people, generally speaking, have the lowest incomes, and generally speaking, we have the lowest amount of assets. We got hit the hardest by these high levels of inflation. Biden and Harris come into office after trillions of dollars have been injected into the economy already due to COVID, and then want to pass high spending. That's like pouring gasoline on the fire of inflation. Many black people realize that for what it is. Again, if you wanted black men to come out and support her, you should have gotten a better candidate. She is not a good candidate. So don't come to us talking to us about, well, I think it's because she's a woman and you're sexist and this and that. No, she's a crappy candidate. She has no good policies. She cannot speak if it's unscripted. She's not authentic. I mean, and that's why a lot of what you're talking about, and that's why if you think about it, that's why you guys have to focus so much on Donald Trump. Donald Trump, 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 Donald Trump. Why? Because Kamala Harris isn't any good. She's not any good. People are seeing the results of her policies. This woman flip-flops on policies. And she won't come out and be transparent with the public and explain everything that she's changed on and what she stayed the same on, right? And she markets herself as the candidate of change, right? A new generation of leadership. And then when asked what she would do differently, she says nothing. So don't come to us and tell us we need to vote for your shitty candidate because you guys didn't put a better candidate up. If you want our vote, you should put a better candidate up with better ideals. It's not crazy. Just like if you owned a business, if you own a business and you're selling a product, if a customer comes in there, looks at your product and says, nah, I don't want it, you don't get to go to that customer and say, hey, get back in line and buy this product. You don't know what you're missing. You better buy this product. No, as a business owner, you have to realize, okay, the market doesn't want my product. I need to change that. Yes, the market, in a lot of cases, is rejecting your product. Y'all should have had a primary and put somebody better up. It's that simple. Do not come to us talking about we're sexist and we don't want a woman and it's unacceptable that we're not voting for Kamala Harris. No, it's more than acceptable that we're not voting for Kamala Harris. She has not given us any good reasons to vote for her. She hasn't. So again, do not come to us shaming us because we don't want to vote for the idiotic candidate that you put up. Y'all should have put someone better up. The market's rejecting her. Accept it. Y'all made a mistake. You should have done better. Do not come to us and try to hold us accountable for not wanting to vote for the shit you put up. We have the right to vote for whoever we want. You do not own our vote. None of you do. That simple. Again, find a better candidate. Find a better candidate, maybe we can have a different conversation. But we're not going to sit here and let you talk down to us and tell us that it's unacceptable that we're not voting for Kamala Harris and that we're sexist if we're not doing it. And it's because, we don't want to vote for a woman. Hush. No. Put a better candidate up and get off of your high horse. It's that simple.